Welcome in to the Punt and Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside by my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are at Punt and Pass on X and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He's at Fromm Jake. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, at Punt and Pass on YouTube, youtube.com/punt and pass, puntandpass.com, the number one destination for all things college football. Week 7 of the college football season is in the books, and oh my goodness, do we have so much to talk about. Insane games throughout the SEC and across the country. Just stunning news breaking on Sunday as well. The coaching carousel heating up in a massive way. It's crazy that we're not even at Halloween yet. But Jake, hold on to your hat, buddy. I feel like the second half of the college football season is going to get crazy. And what better place to break it all down than right here on Punt and Pass? How are you, man? What a weekend.
Man, what a weekend. You're exactly right. You're going to have to hold on to something because people are getting beat.
Yes.
People are getting fired. It is that time of the year. I didn't think it was quite there yet, especially not up there at Penn State. But yeah, no better place to hear about it than right here on the Punt and Pass podcast.
No question. Georgia escapes a wild game in Auburn. The Dogs beat the Tigers 20-10. Texas shows life. They whoop up on Oklahoma and win the Red River rivalry. Alabama outlasted Missouri. Man, Bama is good. Missouri really good as well. Florida takes another L. And how about those Hoosiers? Yeah, Indiana goes out west and takes down Oregon in Autzen Stadium 30-20. We'll get to all that. We're going to dive deep into the Georgia-Alabama game. You know that's why most of y'all are here. And, of course, just shocking news breaking Sunday afternoon. Penn State fires their head coach, James Franklin. Quite frankly, no pun intended, I thought that came out of absolutely nowhere. Yes, I know Penn State's lost 3 games in a row. We've got all the stats that we're going to break down. We'll give you our opinion. We'll discuss it as only we can right here on Punt and Pass. This episode of Punt and Pass presented to you by our awesome partners over at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. Let's get one thing straight. The college football season flies by. Yes, it's almost Halloween. Then guess what? It's going to be Thanksgiving. Then guess what? It's going to be Christmas and the holidays. Get in front of that to-do list right now and head on into a Solomon Brothers Jewelers location. There's 3 of them to choose from. If you're in the Atlanta area, of course, Buckhead in 17th floor Tower Place, Alpharetta just past the Avalon, their newest location down south of the city in Sharpsburg. When you walk into a Solomon Brothers Jewelers location, first off, you're going to be amazed. Second off, tell them Punt and Pass sent you. You can get up to 10% off your jewelry purchase. And even better, they've got anything and everything for whatever price point you're looking to spend. You're going to have a great time. They'll pour you a fresh cocktail. They've got TVs in there. The staff is extremely friendly. Diamonds, jewelries, accessories, watches. Solomon Brothers Jewelers is the best. That is your jewelry store in the Atlanta area. They can take care of all of your diamond and jewelry needs, especially for the holiday season. Stay tuned because I bet you that Jaron and Nick holler at us, Jake. Probably throw a little bit extra candy out to the Punt and Pass listeners as the holidays roll through. Go check them out on social media at Solomon Brothers and SolomonBrothers.com. Today's episode of Punt and Pass is also brought to you by Humberto Injury Law. If you've been hurt in an accident and need a team that fights for you like we fight on the field, Humberto Injury Law is here for you. Humberto and his team know what it takes to win, and they'll stand by your side every step of the way. Visit HumbertoInjuryLaw.com to learn more. Call them at 770-888-8901. 770-888-8901. Mi amigo Humberto is the number 1 personal injury attorney and workers' comp attorney in Atlanta. You call them, they'll stand by your side. You don't owe them a thing until they win for you. They've won for me. They can win for you. That's why they're proud supporters of the Punt and Pass podcast. We love Humberto Injury Law. Check them out, HumbertoInjuryLaw.com. Okay, Jake, I did not work with you on Saturday evening. I had the weekend off. No complaints there. Night game, got to hang with the family, had a couple of cocktails, watched what was just an insane football game. First things first, the Dogs win 20-10. A tale of 2 halves, as we've come to expect from the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, they were getting absolutely steamrolled in the first half. And right as the 2-minute warning came about, the entire game turned on its head. I don't even know where to start, but I'll try. We'll start here. Georgia looked like they were in a world of trouble. I mean, they had 20 total yards of offense heading into the 2-minute warning. They had 2 possessions. The defense couldn't get off the field. Jackson Arnold and the Auburn offense converted every third down they had. I mean, it looked like something that Georgia fans, unfortunately, are starting to get used to. And then the play happened. We'll dive into that in just a second. Give me your initial thoughts on how the game began. And then, of course, we'll go to the incident that really flipped the game completely upside down.
Yeah, I mean, we said it all week. Hey, dogs roll, dogs win if they start fast, right?
You said that. You said that. I was worried. You said that.
I mean, I had all the confidence in the world in this game for whatever reason. And I'm just sitting there watching this first half unfold, thinking, man, I'm the biggest idiot. And there's no way I'm seeing this correctly, because it was just a pitiful first half of football, except the last 1 minute and 57 seconds. Just a bad football being played. The start was slow, and there was a lot of the feeling of here we go again with the Alabama game that happened just a couple weeks prior, and just so one-sided in that first half. Auburn collecting all the third downs in a row, marching it down the field, and kind of shifting into that play that Raylan Wilson had to punch that ball out. Come to find out, CJ Allen had a little piece of his hand in there as well. I mean, that was an opportunity for Auburn to go up 17-0.
Oh, it would have been disastrous for Georgia.
First off, I don't know why they blew a whistle. There was a referee standing right there watching the pile. You saw him pick the ball up and run it back. I don't know why a whistle was blown. Should have been 10-7. It wasn't. And you have to say kudos to the offense. Okay.
Georgia's offense.
Absolutely. And that beautiful 2-minute drive. It didn't even start as a 2-minute drive. You had no timeouts because you had to burn all your timeouts earlier in the first half. And the first play was a quarterback sneak to get away from your own end zone.
1-2, a cloud of dust, anything to be able to move the back nose of the ball away from the goal line.
Just to get a little bit of breathing room. And then they hit this in-between dip toe where, hey, we're going to run the ball. If we can pop one here, we'll get into 2 minutes. If we don't, hey, we'll just kind of eat it, play it slow, go into halftime, no big deal. And they pop one, and then all of a sudden it's this, it's that. Then it's a penalty or two, and then we kick a field goal. And, man, to make that a one-score game when you could have been down 3 scores, I mean, that's NFL football. I mean, that's just top-tier football and what you have to do and need to do to win football games when you're not playing your best ball.
Yeah, the penalties, the drive, getting down there, converting on the field goal, heading into half when you're getting the ball after halftime too, winning that middle 8, so important. Week in, week out, especially against tough opponents. Let's go back, though, to Auburn's first 2 drives. Their first drive, 14 plays, 75 yards, 7 minutes and 21 seconds, ends in a touchdown. Georgia's down 7-0. I immediately text you, if the Dogs go 3 and out, this is going to be bad. Well, they went 5 and out, and they kicked the ball back to Auburn. Next drive, 12 plays, 70 yards, 5 minutes and 32 seconds. The defense stops Auburn from getting in the end zone. Thankfully, they connect on a 25-yard field goal. It's 10-0. Then, of course, Georgia goes, 3 and out again? Kicks the ball back to Auburn. Auburn methodically driving down the field, and they're right at the goal line, 1-yard line. Jackson Arnold tries a quarterback sneak, and when he's trying to reach the ball over the goal line, Raylan Wilson, CJ Allen, linebackers for Georgia, simultaneously punch the football, jostle it loose. The ball comes squirting out. Georgia recovers it, picks it up, starts running. Okay. So I'm sitting at home. I'm like, wait a minute. What just happened? Kirby's yelling at the linebacker. Who's the one that recovered it? It's slipping my name right now.
31. Name
Yes.
slipping my name. Yep.
Kirby's saying go to the end zone. He runs the ball all the way to the end zone. It looks like what's going on. The referees rule it a fumble on the field. However, they blew the whistle. They called the play dead. Georgia has possession. Now it goes to a review. And this is where things got absolutely crazy. On the broadcast, Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, Matt Austin, the rules analyst, pretty emphatically saying this is a touchdown.
Oh,
The
yeah.
ball crossed the goal line.
And over again.
And over. And
they were
again.
They were doubling down on it. I couldn't
doubling down, saying there's no chance that this does not get overturned to be called a touchdown
Jones.
at Kyron Jones. As you can see right here on the still shot, the nose of the ball broke the plane. Therefore, the play's done. It's a touchdown. However, and I'm being as objective as possible. Call me biased. Call me a homer. Call me whatever you want. I thought on the still shot, you could see Raylan Wilson's arm almost like in Jackson Arnold's chest, like through his chest, meaning the ball was loose. And then when you play that clip through, it is coming out. The ball was not in possession. I don't think before that nose of the ball broke the plane.
I don't think so.
It was a fumble. Okay. They called it a fumble.
They called it a fumble.
I'm sitting at home watching with Jackie, and I said, look, if they called it a touchdown, it would have stayed a touchdown. The way that you have to have clear and indisputable evidence to overturn a call in college football, they just simply did not have it. Now, I did some researching. I did some reconnaissance, and I have heard that just about every football official in the country thinks that should have been a touchdown. Well, too bad. Too bad. And this is why I say too bad, because the officials called it a fumble on the field. Now, let's kind of go through this play. The officials messed the entire play up. 3 things should have happened right there, right? It should have been, that's the next play that we're going to get into, but it should have been a touchdown for Georgia. It should have been a touchdown for Auburn. There's no way that there's any chance that ball should have been called down at the 1-yard line, but Georgia gets possession. Jake, you just went through the entire drive. The back end of the ball was essentially touching the goal line. They had no room to move, and they put together this drive thanks to a bunch of more penalties that were called on Auburn, move it all the way down, get that field goal before halftime. You know, that had to give Georgia so much life heading into the locker room. Hey, guys, we're still in it. That would have been the kill shot. They missed. We're still alive. And then you saw Hugh Freeze with Molly McGrath before half. He was totally dejected as a head coach. I mean, he was down in the dumps. I was shocked that Auburn allowed a call before half to essentially ruin the entire game. Get this statistic.
Dude.
You ready for a crazy stat?
You're being spot on right here. Go ahead.
Before the fumble, okay, 2 minutes left in the game. 2 minutes left in the first half. Before the fumble, Auburn had 228 total yards of offense. Georgia had 20. After the fumble, Georgia had 276 total yards of offense. Auburn had 49. The entire game flipped on its head. You got to give credit to Georgia. They pounced on the opportunity. And you got to question Auburn a little bit and say, how on earth do you not have the mental fortitude as a team to say, we still got much more football? So much more football left to play.
Well, you saw Coach Freeze's halftime interview, and the wind in his sails just, sucked right out of him.
He was done. You would have thought the game was over.
Oh, he had no juice. He had no answers, no fight. And my buddies who were there at the game said, man, as soon as that happened and Georgia went down and scored, all the momentum, any sense of hope in that stadium evaporated. And you could tell it. It was completely evident through the entire second half that it was just so one-sided, and then it just gets flip-flopped. And not that Georgia didn't have their own struggles as well. It was an uphill battle, and it wasn't as clean as it could have or should have been. But, man, they were able to find a way to fight through it when you're not playing your best stuff and come out and scratch a victory. I couldn't believe it. You could see it through the players on the field. My buddy's telling me you get the fans feel it, and then just seeing your head coach. That's just a bad recipe, man. When nobody else has any hope, but they just kept shooting themselves in the foot with so many opportunities. The penalties were awful
all the way around,
undisciplined, and that last 1 minute and 57 seconds on the clock took 36
38 minutes of real time.
of real time.
Unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Sean McDonough, I think Sean is one of the best in all of college football because he is not afraid as a broadcaster to give his opinion. Hey, I thought that was wrong. And, like going to one of the breaks, the second half was taking so long. Sean McDonough said, I think it's still Saturday night. I mean, it took forever, right? Like he was just going, this is absolutely insane. And he was holding the officials accountable, right, throughout the entire game, which I really do appreciate. Jared, I'm going to throw this first clip up of Kirby Smart discussing if he got an explanation on the fumble from the officials after it happened. It's just so funny to me, Jake, because Kirby's got to talk about it. Hugh Freeze has got to talk about it. Guess who doesn't have to talk about it? The officials. They get to go home, go sleep in their cozy beds, not have to answer to anybody. It's an absolute joke. Here is head coach Kirby Smart for the Georgia Bulldogs discussing if he got an explanation from the officials after that crazy play before half.
What explanation did the officials give you on the Raylan punch out and why it wasn't ruled a touchdown for Kyron on that play?
I never got an explanation. Of course, it took the longest I've ever seen. All I was told was someone saw a clear recovery, but they thought said he was down. I still don't know if he was down. The official said that he was down. Not an official that watched it. A different official said that he was down when his back was on the guy's legs. But I saw the ball from the sideline jostle out. I couldn't tell if it was across the line or not. But I didn't know who got it. There was no explanation given.
How different was it? The game when that play you beat down possibly 17-0 and then going down 10. How different?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's 7-3, right? It's 10-point swing. 7-3 for us. It's 10-point swing. That's a huge swing in the game. But look, we didn't just get given. We didn't get given a touchdown. We had to get our field goal. We had to go get it. And when you come start on the 1 inch line and you sneak one, you bust a run out, you go 2 minute, you operate well with no timeouts, and have a chance to score a touchdown, kick a field goal with a little over a minute. I was proud of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, no explanation. Shocker. Kyron Jones was not down. I mean, watch the replay. Not down, not touched. That was a touchdown for Georgia. Crazy that the officials called the play dead. Crazy that they said he might have been down. Again, he wasn't. Just insane. It took so much time. Then the drive, the ensuing drive, I thought the roughing the passer on Gunner, pretty bad call. I mean, it was not blatant. You're a quarterback. You might stick up for Gunner, but, contact before he threw the ball, and then he didn't necessarily take him down to the ground with force. The play just kind of carried on, flag. Georgia gets 15 more yards. The officials were so bad in this game, and we're going to get to one call that happened that's been just the talk of college football, the timeout, no timeout at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But Kirby Smart said it best, man. They weren't given anything, right?
No.
Like they were not given a touchdown. They were not given some phantom call to where Auburn scored a touchdown. Again, they ruled it a fumble on the field. Georgia gets out of the 1 inch line, goes down, is able to put 3 points on the board. Just those moments in college football games, you're like, all right, here we go. Like that was the opportunity for Georgia to have any chance of being in that football game.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you watch a little bit more of Kirby's presser, he was kind of talking about Noah Thomas and the DBs for Auburn just being able to grab our guys all day long. From personal experience, for whatever reason, they let those guys, when they play at home in Auburn, grab us all night long and just never call a defensive holding, man. And it seems it's just so hard to get any separation in any space. So, I mean, it's just they could probably throw a flag every play. Thank God that crew in particular did not do that. We would still be watching that game here, talking about it right now, 2 days later. So, but man, slow and just thankfully the Dawgs found a way to win it, because if they didn't, that would have been such a long ride home. And going back and watching the timeout / clapping situation blew my mind.
Oh yeah.
And so when you're watching it, in real time, you see Kirby clearly going down the sideline
as clear as day.
timeout.
Yes.
Clear as day. Now, what he's saying you can't see, and you're getting the TV and you're getting the tight copy. If you get to see the wide copy, there's a safety for Auburn clearly clapping. And, Kirby told the referees, so they're, the referees get to talk to the head coach on each side. Hey, what are you seeing? I want you to be looking out for this particular offensive lineman. He holds a little bit, or he takes a jump off the snap. And anyway, they said, hey, these guys on defense, they clap. I need you to be ready and be prepared for it. And in that particular moment, man, they were clapping. And that's what Kirby was upset about. How he went about trying to explain it and get the attention of the ref, I think, is up for debate. But in that time, I mean, he was definitely saying timeout. But back to the referees again, they just said, no, it's kind of all of a wash. We're not going to, charge you a timeout. We're not going to charge him a penalty. So I just thought that's just crazy how it all worked out.
Absolutely crazy. We do have a copy of the wide view from our buddy Rusty Manziel at Dawgs HQ. Jared, go ahead and pull up the tweet. Rusty tweeted out last night, better view here. Auburn's deep safety starts clapping pre-snap, and you can immediately see Kirby Smart running towards the officials as it's happening. Rusty has a great wide view. I hope you're watching on YouTube or on TV in Atlanta on Atlanta News First or Peachtree Sports Network. Jared, go ahead and play this. We might run it a couple of times, but you can see it very, very clearly here. Kirby Smart running towards the official. Jake and I both agree. You can see the copy. It is about as clear as day that he's signaling for a timeout, but I want you to watch. You see the deep safety for Auburn start clapping his hands, and on the top right part of the screen, almost in conjunction with the beginning of the clapping, here comes Kirby Smart running towards the official. Play it, Jared. Not sure if you can hear me or not, but I'll just try it. You can see the deep safety here for Auburn. He's about to start clapping. There he goes. And here comes Kirby Smart. Somebody must be in his ear. He starts running towards the official. He was signaling for a timeout. The referee calls the timeout, and then Kirby goes and begins talking. Now, this is where I thought, the reactionary, quick to judge society that we live in on social media. I mean, people were burying Kirby Smart. They were doing it on the broadcast as well, saying, what are you talking about? He's clearly calling for timeout. Now he's telling the referee, the official, that he's clapping. This is ridiculous. How on earth could this get called back? But if you read his lips, he is saying to the official, the Auburn safety is clapping. You can't do that. That's supposed to be a penalty on Auburn. Now, play clock was winding down. So for obvious reasons, you would think Kirby Smart was trying to call the timeout just to salvage not having a delay of game. Here is the issue with the entire set of events there, okay? 3 things should have happened. None of them happened. 1, Georgia should have gotten called for a timeout. They called timeout. The official saw Kirby Smart, timeout, boom, your timeout's burned, right? That should have happened, whether Kirby says he was calling for timeout, whether he says he was talking to the official saying, no, that's not what I was doing. He signaled it. They did not burn the timeout for Georgia. 2, Georgia should have been flagged for a delay of game, right? The play clock went down. They could have had that. That didn't happen. Or 3, Auburn should have got thrown a penalty because that is, what is that, a delay game on the defense?
Yeah.
Pre-snap.
Yep.
They got called for a penalty. None of those 3 things happened. They revoked the timeout. Georgia to keep the timeout.
It's a wash, guys.
That was insane, Jake. I've never seen anything like it. I think if you watch the broadcast, they had never seen anything like it either. And Kirby Smart was talking about it after the game, and he's sticking by his story, which I don't blame him. Hey, I was clapping. I did not call timeout. They were the ones clapping. That's what I was talking to the official about. Jake, I've never seen anything like this, and there's still been no comment from the SEC office in regards to this officiating crew. It's got to be maddening for an Auburn fan.
Yeah, I just, especially, there has to be some type of memo sent out by the SEC to head coaches, to coaching staffs. Hey, we need to be extra clear about our timeouts, if we do them, when we do them, and how we do them, and what the communication looks like. And Kirby said in his press conference that he had particular coaches watching Auburn's defense the
Correct.
entire time.
And that he had mentioned it to the officials before the game.
Yes. And so, hey, if they clapped, immediately Kirby's run to the officials because, they do that. They're not supposed to do that. That's a free 5 yards. And in that particular situation, that was a pretty big deal. So
very big deal,
man. Kirby, he's always trying to find an edge in any way that he can. And that was his edge in that game, and kind of got him out of a jam a little bit, and he was able to talk his way out of it. So yeah, I was a little quick to judge when you're just watching the TV copy. You're like, this guy is crazy. He called a timeout and then said that is crazy. But man, when you get the whole big picture and you see and you hear that they've been looking at that throughout the entire week, had coaches with eyes on Auburn's defense the whole time, you finally start to understand the situation. Got to have context.
Yeah, look, the resiliency of Georgia's team cannot go unnoticed. They do not quit. And if you give them any inkling of light or leave that door open just a crack, they're busting through it, man. And Auburn on the flip side, zero mental toughness, zero mental fortitude, no capability of staying in the fight. They just laid down. They got shut out in the second half. They could not overcome the mistakes that they were making. They got called for a lot of penalties, which most certainly were penalties. Even the illegal block on Cash Jones. Blindside block.
Oh, that was
kidding
awful.
Me? Cash Jones was inside the chest plate, 3 yards away from the play, a textbook block. And the officials throw the flag for a makeup call, a clear as day makeup call to try to say, hey, we recognize what happened on the timeout. We're trying to get one back. Like, those things cannot happen. But Georgia, to their credit, they keep marching forward. So it's a tale of two halves. Kirby Smart talked about it after the game. What's going on with the defense? How can it be so bad for one half, so good in the second half? Here's Kirby Smart talking about Georgia's defense having so much trouble in the first half of games through the first 7 weeks of the season.
Is we're having them on defense too, and it's hard. I felt like the first half we spent the whole, I was 20-6, I don't know what it was, but the time possession was whack, and I'm okay with that as your identity, but you need to play really good defense behind that kind of identity, and we've played okay defense. It's crazy how good we can play at times and how poorly we can play.
Coach, you shut them out in the second half defensively. I know you said you didn't make any defensive adjustments, but when you're trying to pull off a comeback, how big is that?
Oh, I guess it's the second time we've done it. Really the third if you count Kentucky with the guys that were in the game, right? So I don't want to say there's not adjustments. Schumann and his staff do a great job. They made some different calls, but an awareness of what they were running after an off week, they hit us on some things that honestly we didn't rep. And we had to rep them, and we had to get it fixed. Got it fixed. We played blocks and tackle people better, and that's football.
Why do you think the first half has just been so hard, especially with some of the slower starts for you guys?
I wish I knew. I would tell you if I did.
I don't know.
Football's hard, man. That's such a candid answer. What's going on first half? I don't know. I wish I knew. I'd tell you if I did know. We'd fix it if we could. But the adjustments second half are what is keeping Georgia really alive this season, Jake. It's remarkable to watch. It's frustrating to watch as well if you are a Georgia fan. But I thought it was really eye-opening as well. He's like, look, they came off a bye week. They threw some stuff at us that we've never seen. Like, what do you want us to do? That's just great coaching and great execution on Auburn's side. And then it's even better coaching and execution from the reaction and the adjustments that Georgia's able to make in-game, Jake.
Yeah, you have to give the coaches and the players flowers for being able to make those adjustments. But at halftime, it's very easy to lay down those situations and not make those adjustments and be scared. It's like, no, just stick to the plan that we have. And man, they're able to figure it out somehow, some way. It's kind of scary. Hey, what could this Georgia football team be if they put it all together for 60 minutes? I don't know. I know they can play 30 minutes of some dang good football, right? Some really, really good football. But, also what Kirby said in his press conference, that's not their identity. They're not this super huge explosive offense where the time of possession gets out of whack. This team's not really built on offense to come from behind because
it's bully ball.
Yeah, the explosiveness isn't there. They're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 play drives. That last one to ice the game, what was it, 16, 17 plays, took off 8 minutes off the clock. They are just kind of built for the long haul and do it methodically down the field. And it's really tough to come from a big number from behind and play your style offense. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Obviously, Kirby doesn't as well. I know they're in the coaching staff room, and they're just trying to brainstorm some solution and figure out what the problem, what the cancer is. But sometimes there just isn't one, and there's no explanation for it.
No, you're exactly right. That last drive to ice the game with a touchdown, 16 plays, 78 yards, 8 minutes and 45 seconds, capped off by that Gunnar Stockton 10-yard touchdown run where he does the Cam Newton Superman dive over the pylon to get into the end zone. Georgia wins 20-10. Keep in mind, Georgia missed a field goal for the first time in what seems like forever. That's some adversity. They didn't flinch. This team does not flinch. They got to get ready. They have a huge test coming up this weekend. College game day coming to Athens, 3:30 kickoff. Top 5 ranked Ole Miss will be between the hedges. Georgia opens up as a 6 or a 6.5 point favorite. That to me is crazy. Hey, what's not crazy, or what could be deemed crazy, is the amazing deals that you can find at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. That's right. This episode of Punt and Pass presented to you by our awesome partners over at Solomon Brothers Jewelers. 3 amazing locations for you to check out: Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg. Walk in, enjoy it. Amazing showrooms, beautiful staff, incredible inventory. Anything for every price point: diamonds, jewelry, accessories, watches. You can get up to 10% off when you tell them Punt and Pass sent you. SolomonBrothers.com. Check them out on social media at Solomon Brothers on X and Instagram. This game was certainly won in the fourth quarter. Football games are won in the fourth quarter, and cases are won with relentless effort. Humberto Injury Law never lets up. They fight until the final whistle for every client. If you need a team that won't quit, check them out at HumbertoInjuryLaw.com. Call them 770-888-8901. 770-888-8901. They don't quit and they win, much like Georgia. I've experienced it myself. If you need the best personal injury or workers' comp attorney in Atlanta, holler at mi amigo Humberto, HumbertoInjuryLaw.com. Anything else you want to mention about this game, Jake? Or should we move on to some of the shocking news before we kind of recap the results from across the league this weekend?
Yeah. Let's move on, man. I feel like we've harped on it enough. And hey, it wasn't pretty. Dogs win in this new era of college football. Man, take your wins and move on to the next one. I don't see dynasties and blowouts. And once you get to league play, I just don't think that's going to be a very common thing to see in the next couple of years. I really don't.
I totally agree with you. Georgia beats Auburn on the Plains, 20-10. Okay, Sunday afternoon, some just absolutely shocking news broke. Penn State fired their head coach, James Franklin. Penn State, the number 2 ranked team in the country to start the preseason, has fired their coach, who took them to the college football playoff semifinal game last year. Penn State was 1 play away from being in the national championship. They've dealt with a lot of injuries so far this season. They lose their star quarterback, Drew Aller, in the game against Northwestern this past weekend. They lose to Northwestern at home 22-1. Just 2 weeks ago, College game day was in-state college. James Franklin on the desk with Nick Saban. They take Oregon to overtime, whiteout game. They barely lose, right? Done. They go to UC.
Crazy.
So that game was insane. They lose their second Big Ten game this weekend at home. They lose to Northwestern, and they cut bait on James Franklin, who's won 140 or 104 games at Penn State during his career, Jake. The second winningest head coach in Penn State history, of course, behind Joe Paterno. But it's over. $49 million buyout coming to James Franklin. Here's the tale of the tape, though. James Franklin, while at Penn State, 4-21 against top 10 teams, 15-31 against top 25 teams, and 4-17 against Ohio State and Michigan. You can't do that, man. I mean, you have to go from good to great. Penn State couldn't get there. But this is what I think. With as shocking of a move as that is, and in the last 3.5 years, there's only 3 coaches in college football who have more wins than James Franklin. They are Kirby Smart, they are Ryan Day, and they are Kalen DeBoer. Those are the only 3 coaches in the last 3.5 years that have more wins than James Franklin, yet Penn State says, we're done. We've got to move on. Here's your $49 million. Thank you very much. We're going into week 8. We're going to go find our new head coach. You have got to think that there have been some back channel conversations to where Penn State knows exactly where they're going.
Has to be. You can't do this in week 8 and not have and owe that guy that much money and not have a solution to this problem, because that is a big problem. Who else are you going to get? There's only so many names that would deem qualifiable to coach at Penn State, and that resume, and I don't know. They have to have a guy in their back pocket that they know they can get anytime they want, and some booster has to be footing the bill, because this is a very, very big buyout, $49 million.
Whew.
You've just seen it happen around the SEC where, take Dan Mullen, for example. He's kind of a dark horse for this job, right?
Absolutely.
But he's, doing a pretty dang good job at Florida, right? And he, has a bad stretch and he gets fired. And it's like, man, going 9-3. I'm not saying that's great. It's not 9-3, 10-2. But man, firing your head coach, he may not take you to the promised land, but it is just very, very hard. Doesn't matter what league you're in, to consistently win 9 and 10 games a year.
Yeah, oftentimes when the names get dropped of potential candidates that could fill in for a vacancy, a huge vacancy like Penn State, where there's smoke, there's fire. And one name that was mentioned a bunch on Sunday, Matt Rule, Nebraska's head coach. Matt Rule, Penn State alum, played linebacker at Penn State. I've heard he's very close with Penn State's athletic director. To me, I just don't see that as a big jump from what James Franklin had been doing. Is Matt Rule going to be the guy that takes Penn State from good to great? Again, Penn State one play away from the national championship game just a year ago. You're also hearing about Curt Cignetti, what he's done at Indiana. Give him the keys. He's a Pennsylvania guy. Give him the keys at Penn State. Let him recruit with that Penn State kind of lore and tradition in their program. He's doing a great job at Indiana. We'll talk about them.
He's doing more with less there.
Little bit, no question about it. I think Dan Mullen's very intriguing. I also think Dan Mullen is a good cautionary tale for Penn State. And here's what I mean by that. Florida got rid of Dan Mullen after the 2020 season, right? Florida was doing great. Florida had a chance to make it to the college football playoff that year. The season kind of fell off the wheels at the end, but they wanted to go from good to great. Look where they're at now. Right? Billy Napier probably going to get fired this year. It did not work out. But think about the chain reaction that this is about to set off.
Look at Auburn with Gus Malzahn.
Yeah. Florida probably going to be open. Oklahoma State's open. Virginia Tech's open. Arkansas is open. UCLA is open. Okay. Auburn might come open. What about Oklahoma? I mean, could Oklahoma move on from Brent Venables? What about Florida State? They lost this weekend. Could they move on from Mike Norvell? Kentucky's probably going to be open if it goes as most people expect it to the remainder of the season. Wisconsin and Luke Fickell. Brandon Walker from Barstool says there's just not enough food to feed all the mouths of what could set off this huge chain reaction in the coaching carousel coming up this offseason. I was shocked by this, Jake. Penn State moving on from James Franklin. It will be fascinating to see which direction they go.
Yeah, no, I can't wait to see. Like you said, there are a lot of jobs that are going to be open, that are open, open now. Who are these rising stars in the coaching world to fill the voids? Has to be somewhere. It has to be some guys. With the money that they're throwing around in college football, there are going to be some NFL guys who come trickling down, and I don't know. I'm so curious to see who rises to the top and rises to the occasion, because there are plenty of opportunities coming for young and hungry coaches.
The grass is not always greener. I will say this though. Okay. James Franklin has a house on Lake Oconee. Kirby Smart might send a text message and say, you bored? You want to come hang out at Butchmere? Would love to have you be an analyst. You got $49 million coming your way. Come chill out with us. You can hang around. I would bet you this, okay? James Franklin in the media next year does a great job on TV. He will be the hottest thing out there. If he were to take a year off, he'll be the hottest thing out there. If he doesn't, I want to know who Penn State gets. I want to know where James Franklin ends up. Going to be highly interesting to watch. We'll keep it up to date right here on Punt and Pass. All right, quick around the SEC. Texas rolled Oklahoma 23-6. They shut out Oklahoma in the second half. Texas won the second half 20-0. A punt return for a touchdown. Arch Manning looked pretty good. A big win for Texas. Steve Sarkisian to get their season back on track. Alabama outlasted Missouri on the road 27-24. I thought Missouri looked really good. I thought Alabama took their punches, delivered punches back. Missouri turned the ball over 4 times. Jake, you can't do that and expect to beat the Crimson Tide. Texas A&M remains undefeated. They beat Florida 34-17. LSU gets back on track. They beat South Carolina 20-10. And Kurt Signetti out in Indiana goes
big one
to Oregon and knocks off the Ducks 30-20. Incredible win for Indiana. I'm pulling up the rankings right now in the AP poll, Jake. Indiana is the 3rd ranked team in the country. They got 3 first place votes. Ohio State staying at the 1 spot. Miami is 2. Texas A&M 4. Ole Miss 5. Alabama 6. Texas Tech, watch out for the Red Raiders. They're 7. Oregon is 8. Georgia's 9. LSU is ranked 10th. Just madness.
One,
is
two,
happening right now, and
three,
it's going to get even crazier.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 SEC teams in the top 25. Drewski, Texas A&M or Ole Miss? Who's more for real to you?
I think Ole Miss, because their offense is a little bit more explosive. I think they can go. They're a little bit more battle tested. They probably should have made the college football playoff last year. They lost a game to Kentucky, and then they lost a game to Florida, which was just absolutely killer. But I would take Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. 2 really good teams looking to have a great 2025. Hey, this has been an awesome episode of Punt and Pass. Major shout out to our presenting sponsor, Solomon Brothers Jewelers. Go check them out. One of their 3 locations, Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg. Check them out online, solomonbrothers.com, at Solomon Brothers on social media. When you walk into a store, you can get 10% off your jewelry purchase. Just tell them Punt and Pass sent you. They've got it all at any price points. Solomon Brothers is simply the best. And remember, Humberto Injury Law is your first call when accidents happen. Don't wait. Visit HumbertoInjuryLaw.com today. Humberto Injury Law, protecting people, fighting for justice, winning results. HumbertoInjuryLaw.com. Call them. If you need the #1 personal injury and workers' comp attorney in Atlanta, mi amigo Humberto is your guy. 770-888-8901. 770-888-8901. HumbertoInjuryLaw.com. Follow us on social media at Punt and Pass, at Drew Butler, at From Jake, puntandpass.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out on TV. We are everywhere all college football season long. We've loved keeping everybody up to date right here on Punt and Pass. Jake Fromm, anything on the way up, my man?
No, man. College football is crazy. Cannot believe what's all going on. It's going to be a fun ride to the end.
Yes, it is going to be a fun ride to this weekend as well. Some big games. We'll be back Thursday with another fresh episode of Punt and Pass. Until then, have a great week, everybody, and we will talk to you on Thursday. See ya.
We out.